Hello, everyone. Welcome back to The Art of Being a Woman. I'm your host, Courtney, and I'm very excited for today's episode. Today, we are talking about the art of being your own best friend. If you've ever gone through a friendship breakup, if you've ever felt like, why don't I have more friends than I do now? Or why do I not have friends at all? Maybe you just moved to a new town. Maybe you started a new job and everyone has their group of friends in that office and you just feel out of place and no one is trying to be friendly with you. It happens. It happens to all of us. And honestly, most of the time, these are things outside of our control. So, first of all, I don't want anyone to think that a solo phase in life is bad, is shameful. It's actually one of the most beautiful things you can give yourself in life. And I feel like sometimes God really forces us to go into these periods because He knows what we truly want for ourselves. He knows we want to grow and to expand and to be way better than what we are right now. And that doesn't mean we don't like ourselves now, but we can still want more for ourselves and still appreciate ourselves in the moment. So let's get into it. These 4 steps are the ones that I created on my Instagram account. She is Artfully Woman. Please join us there if you haven't. I really love to connect with you all there on a daily basis, and I would love for you to join. So, the steps are as follows. 1. Speak to yourself like a goddess. 2. Fall in love with your solitude. 3. Treat yourself like a princess. And 4. Romanticize your daily routine. Doesn't that sound so adorable? You're gonna realize when you get to know yourself very well that you are so cool, you're funny, you're real, you are creative, you're authentic. I can go on and on and on. All of these steps are gonna guide you into how to fully love yourself, yes, but also embrace the fact that you get to have a relationship with yourself. So, let's go into step 1. Speak to yourself like a goddess. The way that we think about ourselves and the way that we talk about ourselves are very important actions. We have to make sure that our thoughts and our speech is really positive, especially when we're talking about ourselves. And this isn't always easy, but imagine you're looking in the mirror and a negative thought about yourself pops into your head. If you don't check that thought, that negative thought is going to grow and it's going to try to pop up in your mind every single time you look in the mirror because it knows that you gave it attention. If we are giving our attention to negative thoughts, we are giving it energy and allowing it to have power. And this is what leads to having insecurities. It starts as a thought, and the thought becomes more repetitive, and then it turns into a belief. And then it becomes rooted in our subconscious that we think it's a fact of life. We don't even realize it was a thought that wasn't even factual, and we gave it so much power. Over time, the thoughts and the speech that we use to describe ourselves, it ends up shaping our self perception and it influences everything from our confidence to the decisions that we make on a daily basis. Instead of focusing on a negative thought, or maybe you slip up and you say something deprecating about yourself, quickly add a compliment that actually negates what you originally thought and said about yourself. What do I mean by this? When I was studying for my exam, for my license, I always had this thought try to pop into my head and it was telling me, you don't even know if you're going to pass the exam on your first try because many people do not. And yeah, technically, if I didn't pass it the first time, it wouldn't be the end of the world. I would just take it again. But I just didn't like that that was the thought that kept trying to repeat on a loop because I didn't agree with it. I don't want to be negative. I don't want to assume that I'm not passing it because I want to pass it and I believe that I could. I was putting in the work for it. And so I decided that anytime that that thought would pop into my head, and it did so often when I was studying, because I was studying for hours, and I guess because I was so committed to passing on my first try, that was why the thought was trying so hard to break me down, to get me to not accomplish what I set out to do. And basically, I told myself that whenever I have that negative thought, I would replace it and I would say, I am so grateful that I passed this exam on my first try. And I didn't believe it at first. If anything, I felt delusional. But who cares? At least it was a better thought than the negative one that was being thrown at me almost. And I did that for a month straight, honestly. I would stop to interrupt these negative thoughts and tell myself, I am so grateful I am passing my exam on my first try. And not only did I say it, I wrote it, I thought it, and you figure out your own way of incorporating positive speech into your life. I think it's a very important part of becoming your own best friend. Think about your relationships with your friends that you love. They definitely make you feel empowered. They definitely uplift you and make you feel like, wow, even if I forget my good qualities, they'll always be there to remind me that I'm not a bad person and that, I have potential. That's what we look for in our friends. So make sure you do that for yourself first. I want to emphasize that repeating positive speech is so important, but it is like going to the gym, which means that if you say it once and never again, think about going to the gym once and then never again. Do you see any results? Absolutely not. But imagine if you went to the gym 2 times a day, 7 days a week, for a month. You would see a big transformation very quickly. And my whole point is that is how it works with positive affirmations and setting intentions for yourself. It sounds strange and it sounds weird to be speaking to yourself, but honestly, throw that whole concept out. You are with yourself your whole entire life. It would honestly be weird for you not to speak to yourself because are you going to act like you don't exist when you're alone? You are the reason why you exist. So you need to talk to yourself. So, with affirmations, be patient. Understand that you might not feel fully comfortable in what you're saying right away. That's fine. That's like going to the gym and feeling the gym might not be for me. No, you just started and it's uncomfortable and it's new and it's weird and it's awkward. But keep going every single day, twice a day. And by the end of the week, you already know where all the machines are. You already know which thoughts are going to set you off at what times because you've been so consistent and you've been so disciplined. I really want to hear how that goes for each and every one of you. So please feel free to comment and tell me what positive speech you tell yourself and do it every day. Try to do it twice a day. When you wake up in the morning and before you go to bed, you can write it down, you could say it out loud, you can do both. The more you do, the stronger and more powerful it will become. Now, step 2, fall in love with your solitude. Yes, I think that solitude is something we all have to work on and something we have to learn to love because you know how we want people to spend quality time with us? We have to want to spend quality time with us. We have to want to crave our own energy because imagine expecting people to want to hang out with us and spend quality time with us, but when we're alone, we don't want to spend quality time with ourselves. We're just mindlessly scrolling. That's like hanging out with a friend and she's mindlessly scrolling with you. And there are some friendships like that. I'm not going to say there isn't, but I think when you get to a certain age, you realize I don't need a friend to be scrolling on my phone with. I can do that by myself. And so the bar gets risen yet again because you show yourself a certain amount of attention and respect. And that will trickle into your future friendships and romantic relationships. If you start honoring and prioritizing quality time with yourself, the people that want to be in your life will have to do exactly that or more. And that's exactly what you deserve because you give it to yourself. So, what does this mean? Solitude doesn't mean that you're meditating for 5 hours and then you just go to sleep. Solitude can mean you take yourself out on a solo date. You put your phone on Do Not Disturb. You put on your favorite movie, and it can be the movie that you always want to watch, but you'll never suggest because it's cheesy or because we all saw that a million times. But for you, it's just something that touches you in a certain way and it makes you feel good and makes you feel hopeful for life. Watch something like that. And let's say your favorite food is sushi. So you order sushi for yourself. Or maybe you're craving something. So get that. It doesn't have to make any sense. It just has to make you happy. And you're sort of honoring the fact that you're spending time with yourself. You really want to do things that excite you to spend time with yourself. That's truly what is at the heart of this step. And once you start doing that for yourself, me personally, I like to do this twice a month where I write down 2 different solo dates I'm gonna have with myself. And I actually just had one recently where I went to get a facial and it felt so relaxing. And for some people, that might not be solitude. Some people might not want to leave their house. So Uber Eats and be in your comfy pajamas. But for me, I like the idea of taking care of myself, and so that feels very relaxing to me. And then I got some dinner and I headed home, and it was really nice. I felt so loved. I felt so taken care of, and I felt so spoiled. Even though it was me doing it, I was still touched because honestly, I have never been that kind of person to really go out of my way to impress myself for no reason. As you start to take yourself out on solo dates and you just cherish the quality time you have with yourself, you're going to realize how comfortable you're becoming with yourself and how you're going to attract people and experiences that align with your truest self. You're going to end up meeting people that see all the amazing qualities in you that you have. Now, step three, treat yourself like a princess. This is very similar to what I mentioned about the solo dates, but treating yourself like a princess is a whole nother level. This is all about doing the things that you would want someone to do for you. Like, imagine you had a long day at work and you come home and you're just thinking to yourself, imagine I come home and the person that you're living with baked fresh cookies. I just wish that I came home and there was fresh cookies. So you can go inside the house and realize there's no cookies because they also had a long day and it's okay. No one expected the cookies. Or you can decide before you even walk through the door, I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna bake myself the best cookies ever because I want cookies right now and I can give it to myself and I'll bake them happily knowing that I'm doing it to make myself happy and nothing else. And I get it. When we have a work day, it's hard to be motivated once we get home, but it's about treating yourself like a princess and going above and beyond for yourself, even when it might feel a little uncomfortable. So, for example, if you are in a relationship with someone and you say, oh, I'm so in the mood of cookies, and they jump up and they're like, you know what? Then I'm making you cookies. How are you going to feel? You're going to feel on top of the world. You're going to feel seen, loved, cared for, respected, admired, fill in the blank. And so we have the opportunity to do that for ourselves every day. Sometimes what we are really asking for is to take a nap. And we can convince ourselves, like, no, why would we take a nap? There is so much to be done. But honestly, if you allow yourself to take a 10-minute nap, you're showing yourself, I will make sure that you can have whatever it is you want and we'll still do all the things we need to do. That's basically how you want to show up for yourself and treat yourself like a princess. Don't ever tell yourself no, unless it's something that can harm you, obviously. But whenever you want things and these little whispers come to you and they're telling you, like, imagine we had that, and I wish I did this. Any one of these thoughts, they're honestly whispers of your intuition and they're whispers of your soul, and they're telling you, this is what would make me really happy right now. And you have the opportunity to honor it. And I promise you, if you listen to those little voices telling you what to do to make you happy, you will feel so much joy on a regular day. And I also promise you that these thoughts are talking to us every single day. The same way that a negative thought will try to interfere your mindset on a daily basis, positive thoughts are trying to do that also. It's just that we've attended more to the negative thoughts more than we attend to the positive thoughts, so the negative thoughts are louder. But over time, once you start to replace the negative thoughts with the positive thoughts, they will become louder and you will start to understand and hear what it is that's going to make your soul happy. And a few examples of how to treat yourself like a princess: you can get a facial, you can go shopping, and it doesn't have to be like a shopping addiction because I feel like I have definitely been guilty of that where sometimes if I'm sad, I'll buy myself something and I'm like, okay, because I don't want to say no to myself and princess treatment and all those things. And that's nice, but that's almost like escaping your feelings. Not almost, it is. And I like to tell myself that I can shop whenever I want and whenever I feel like it, but it needs to have a purpose and I need to have intention with it. If there's no intention behind what I'm doing, it's almost the ego trying to get me to do something. And I'll explain what I mean. If I go shopping just because I'm sad, I'm going to buy things that I don't necessarily have in mind to use for a specific occasion. And whenever I buy things without a plan, like I'm gonna buy this sweater and I'm gonna wear it to work next week, or I'm gonna buy this dress and I'm gonna wear it to this event. If I don't even have an idea on where I would wear this new item I'm buying, it ends up just sitting in my closet and I end up not loving it as much as I originally thought I did when I was upset shopping. And so I would tell myself, like, you had a long day at work. You could totally go shopping. What is it that you actually need, though? And I'll tell myself, oh, I actually need new pajamas, or I wanted a new bed set, or I wanted new sunglasses. And then I would go shopping for that exact item, and I would feel so fulfilled because it was my intention, anyways, to buy myself these new things. And now, when I'm in the mood to treat myself like a princess, I know exactly what it is that I want, and I'm not just saying yes to anything and everything. Step four, last step, we have romanticize your daily routine. Why is this important? Because as long as we are remaining in a joy state, in a feeling of happiness with ourselves, the closer we become to what it is that we truly desire. It's very important to make our daily routine magical, so to speak, because life can get very boring and life can feel very dreadful if you let it just pass you by on autopilot and you don't take control of the things that you do have control over. Life ends up bringing you down. And every day when we wake up, we have the choice to make life bring us up and to empower us and to inspire us. Every day is an opportunity to improve your mindset and to bring you closer to what it is that you want. A good way to romanticize your daily routine is by focusing on what you can control within the things that you can't control. And an example of this is, let's say when you get ready for work, you need to wake up at 5 a.m. every single day. That is the only way that you get there on time. Now, it happens to be that you're a night owl. This can be really uncomfortable in the beginning because you go to sleep late and you wake up early. And you wake up early and you're tired because you don't go to sleep till the middle of the night. And you can wake up moody, like, oh, I wish I had sleep and now I'm gonna be yawning during work. And you can go on that loop and make that choice to be in that mood the whole day. Or you can decide, I'm waking up at 5 a.m. Wow, I'm gonna need a lot of energy. I'm gonna pick up my favorite coffee, or I'm gonna make my own favorite coffee from scratch at home. And I'm gonna use my favorite cup. And on top of that, I'm going to make sure that I wear an outfit that excites me and makes me feel cool. And I'm going to blast my music. And this is an opportunity for me to have some quiet time before the whole world wakes up. Make life work for you in the ways that you can control it. In the ways that you can't, sit back and just think to yourself, because I can't change this, is there some way that I can accept that this is for my highest good, whether it's obvious to me now or not? And I promise you, if you really keep this mindset in mind every single day, you will feel yourself change. You will feel yourself become more confident, more filled with self love, and you will get a lot closer to what it is that you desire and deserve. And so I hope that these steps really help you get to know yourself on a deep level. I hope it helps you build a strong relationship with yourself so that not only can you have your own back, but when you meet new friends, when you're leveling up, because that is what will happen, people are going to be so attracted to you. You understand who is truly your friend because who treats you as good as you treat you? And it might not be every person you meet. You might have to turn down some opportunities on making new friends, but it's because you know yourself. It's because you're your own best friend. And it's not going to be so easy to replace that role in your life because you're doing such a good job at it. And that's a good thing. It shouldn't be so easy for people to infiltrate the beautiful kingdom that you've created for yourself within. And so I encourage you all to pick one step that we spoke about today and focus on it this whole week. And please share your experiences in the comments below or share it with me on Instagram. You can message me, I respond. I love you all. I cannot wait to speak to you next week. Until next time, bye for now.